Welcome to Democracy-ish. I'm Danielle Moody.
Yeah, and I'm Wajahat Ali, and we just redid our entire show because Charlie Kirk's assassin, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, turned himself in. Kash Patel did not find him. The Kash Patel's FBI was floundering by their own admission yesterday, but thankfully, the father of Tyler Robinson, who is in Utah in the sheriff department, he detained his son, who turned himself in to his father. And Danielle, Tyler Robinson, the suspect who allegedly shot and killed, the alleged suspect, who shot and killed Charlie Kirk, is not a transgender person. He is not an immigrant. He is not a person of color. Can you please tell people who are just joining us right now the identity of Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old suspect taken in, who shot and killed Charlie Kirk?
So allegedly, Tyler Robinson is a 22-year-old white, I believe, Mormon conservative, whose father is a police officer, whose parents he is, and we will go through the details. He is a registered ideologically as a nonpartisan, which a quarter of the state of Utah is registered as nonpartisan. Both of his parents are registered as Republicans. And I just, folks, there's a clip of the governor, and I actually want to jump to it because I found it so disturbing, and I want you all to listen, and Waj, and you tell me what you deduce from what the governor of Utah says in this press conference.
This bad stuff happens, and for 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us, that somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here.
So
there's a lot to unpack there.
I want us to unpack it because it was Shannon Watts, who folks know is a gun reform activist, and is just an incredible activist, and she goes weird. Like, post the quote that he says, for the last 33 hours, I had been praying that this person who murdered Charlie Kirk, and again, allegedly, was from another country, that he was not one of us because we are not like that, but it is one of us. And Waj, you have your book right behind you that says, go back to your country. I mean, what are we supposed to deduce from that statement from the Utah governor? What do you make of it?
I thought of a lot of things. Let me break it down. And folks, this is all breaking news. We're doing this live. Daniel and I jumped on, so we're just going to report it. And if there's anything new, we're going to tell you. If you all find something that's breaking, let us know in the comment section. We'll jump on it. We'll get the source. One of us. I think that should be the name of this chapter in the story moving forward. If Republicans and conservatives and white America were to be honest with themselves and to look at themselves in the mirror. Because I was told the last 2 days, you lefties, anyone who's not Trump, anyone who's not MAGA, look in the mirror. You're the one who caused this violence. It was your rhetoric. That's what Donald Trump said before any evidence, Danielle. It was what? left-wing violence, the rhetoric of the left that created this atmosphere. MAGA said that, Elon Musk said that, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, said that. And what we've been saying, respectively on our shows, is wait for the evidence, because we don't know. There was no shooter and no motive as of today. Another thing that I have been saying, and a few others have been saying, because unfortunately, Danielle, as I was telling you right before we press record, I'm a masochist who knows these people like Nick Fuentes and Groypers and white nationalists and Charlie Kirk and the hateful comment. My spouse, she said, I had no idea who this guy was. I went and researched it. Oh my God, I can't believe that this is what he says. And this is what my wife said earlier today. I can't believe so many people worship and love Charlie Kirk. I mean, the type of send-off that he got, even more so than Jimmy Carter, right? My wife is like shook. Like the game yesterday, NFL, moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. New York Yankees, moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. Hagiography, sanitizing his legacy. Ezra Klein of the New York Times, Axios, right on, and Medal of Freedom.
Yep.
JD Vance was in the plane.
Oh, I have the photo. I have the photo.
Oh yeah, Usha Vance. Okay, and I want to stick with one of us. Charlie Kirk was one of them. Look at the adulation of Charlie Kirk by specifically white America. That tells you a lot. Less about Charlie Kirk, Danielle, but more about white America, right? One of us. Number two, oh, it's one of us. You know, I really wished it was someone from out of state or an immigrant. Oh, so we can blame people of color, immigrants, and transgender people, which, again, for the past 3 days, the right wing has done, right? Transgender shooter, leftist shooter, immigrant, invasion. Those are the words of Stephen Miller. Oh, we want to deflect this and use it as part of our ongoing, I'm going to use the word crusade against people of color and transgender people in furtherance of our white supremacist ideology. But oh no, it is one of us. And then the one of us, it is a white kid from a good family who was apparently, according to what we know so far, a really smart kid. His father is in law enforcement, I believe in the sheriff's department. This kid grew up in a Republican family, loved guns, right? And guess what? So from what we know so far, and we're going to go a little bit more details about this, was steeped in Groyper culture. And we'll talk about that in a second. So one of us means, oh, white guy, one of us. And the moment of reckoning that will never happen, because you and I have said, well, what happens? We said this, I said this late last night before sleeping. I've been saying it for 2-3 days. Danielle's been saying it. Again, there was no suspect, no motive. Laura Ingraham went all in yesterday. You know, Fox has gone all in. Elon Musk has gone all in. Wired has done several articles about how there's now an escalated campaign of violence and threats and doxing against all these people who criticize Kirk. They're going after teachers, war, civil war, right? That's their language. What I and others have said, and you, including you, Danielle, what happens if it ends up being one of theirs? What happens if it ends up being a white shooter? What happens if it ends up being a radicalized Trumper? Oh, you know, the type of person who tried to kill Donald Trump? That was a white gun enthusiast, young male, much like this guy, and a former Trumper and Republican who came from a Republican family, much like this guy, Tyler Robinson. What will they do then? Will they look in the mirror and say, oh my God, it is one of us? What have we become, Danielle?
Look,
sorry, that was my thoughts.
No. I think that's great, and you're really setting the scene for for us here. And the reality is that we keep thinking that one of these days, these people, this, what I now believe is, for the longest time I said it was 30% of the country, right? I said it was 40% of the country. No, I'm pretty sure now. I'm convinced it's half. That half of the country will wake up from their white nationalist, induced coma. That somehow they will wake up from, the lies that Donald Trump has been spreading and understand that they've been had, that they've been duped? Will it be the big bullshit billionaire bill? Will it be the loss of healthcare? Will it be your schools hollowed out? Will it be the fact that you can't trust the CDC and you'll watch diseases rise? Like, what will it be? And we keep waiting for this moment. And what I think that we all have to understand, and I think that for rational people, it is very hard to understand that there is no moment that they are going to wake up and say to themselves, oh my God, what have we done? What have we become? Because to do that would be to have a deep sense of reflection and a deep awakening of your consciousness. And they laugh at us, right? They say, oh, look at them, like the woke virus, blah, 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 because they want you to be asleep. We consistently talk about the fact that being woke means being conscious to the ills and the systematic injustices that have been perpetuated in this country since the beginning, since its inception. And that an awareness of that then helps you be able to create the conditions for the type of democracy that is true, right? That is real, right? That is embraced and has the tentacles that reach all people, right? Not just, right, a chosen few. We know we call the show Democracy-ish because our democracy has never shown itself to be a true, real democracy for and by the people. And so we keep waiting for half of the country that have been locked inside of this fever dream conjured by Donald Trump that they will come to their senses. But no, because Tyler Robinson is one of them. So in the midst of Donald Trump going out and sitting at the Resolute desk and lying to the American people and calling out the radical left, a man who did not offer not ne'er a prayer, not ne'er a fucking thought on the death of a Speaker of the House in Minnesota, Melissa Hortman, and her husband, that did not offer, right, a moment of kindness or thoughtfulness for Paul Pelosi, that did not offer, right, that in the killing during Charlottesville of the young woman Heather Hyder who was murdered, right? He said that there was good people on both sides. So you're
very fine people on both sides. Very fine people.
You're seeing this country for what it is.
Exactly.
The unchecked violence, the unchecked rhetoric, the unchecked hate, right, that has been celebrated and anointed by Donald Trump and MAGA over the last 10 years. You're seeing their chickens come home to roost, because what we are going to discover is that, yes, as we look back at this picture, because I want to look again, it is a white 22-year-old fucking man, because I will not call him a kid, because you know who was a kid, right? Tamir Rice was a kid that was shot and killed by police at 12 years old. I will not talk about Charlie Kirk. Oh my God, he was so young. Do you know who was young? Fucking Trayvon Martin was young. He was a teenager, right? Fucking Michael Brown was young. He was a teenager. So I will not have sympathies for people that would spit on my grave, right? So when we look at this, I think that it is important for us, because this moment of gaslighting, this moment of intentional gaslighting that this country is doing right now, from mainstream corporate media to the fucking sports teams, to every single person, that the firing of Matthew Dowd at MSNBC, all of this is linked to the project of white nationalism and white supremacy that cannot look at itself in the mirror. And so when they say, oh my God, I was praying that it wasn't one of us, because their projection of who they believe to be criminal, their projection of who they believe to be the perpetuators of wrongdoing, right, is always wrapped in black and brown skin. And yet, that's why they refuse to look in the mirror, because when you look at the stats, it is always them. It is always them.
Great opening sermon, Danielle. I posted this late last night before I slept. I woke up and on Blue Sky it kind of went a little bit viral. I said the following, quote, "You're getting a clear x-ray of America right now. Look at who this country's powerful institutions choose to elevate, venerate, and celebrate. Look at the double standards. look at the people who adore Charlie Kirk, then spend 5 minutes reviewing his hateful legacy. This is America. He is one of us in the sense that he is American. And if you're white, and specifically if you are conservative or Republican or MAGA, he is one of yours, Tyler Robinson. Now, we're still learning a lot, right? And I want to just tell people some stuff as what we're learning, right? What they found on the bullets. And this is why, and I just posted this also, Danielle, we also needed, what's the number one domestic terror threat in America, Danny? Can you tell everyone?
White man.
White supremacy, right-wing extremism. Right. It is the number one domestic terror threat in America. It is the GOAT in terms of incidents and violence. We never talk about it because it's white folks and conservatives. Law enforcement, Trump administration never talks about it. They talk about Antifa. They talk about BLM. They talk about Tren de Aragua. They talk about Muslims. They talk about the leftists. They never, ever talk about white supremacy and right-wing terrorism because, folks, it implicates what? A lot of these players, one of us, and it implicates a lot of Republicans. Back in 2009, a man who worked at DHS, I'm forgetting his name, he released a report, and Wired talked about it. Obama was present, talking about the radicalization of the right wing and how this is coming out. And they killed that report. Folks, go back and look at this. 2009, they killed the DH analyst report on the rise of the radical right wing because it had implicated conservatives and Republicans, and it felt like they made them look bad. And then Obama and Democrats also helped them bury it because they were looking for some bipartisan traction on Obamacare. So this is what we do when it comes to right-wing terrorism. We bury it, right? We don't even talk about it. And the reason I'm mentioning that, because I just posted this, is if corporate media and law enforcement and the U.S. actually treated white supremacy and right-wing extremism as a major issue, then they'd be able to understand this moment. But we barely talk about it, even though it's the number one domestic terror threat in America. And if I may, Danielle, because I know a lot of people don't know this, and why should you? You're a normal human being, not like me, who spent 15 years researching extremists and Islamophobes and hate mongers. Okay. The rifle and the marking of Tyler Robinson, this is what we know, folks. The rifle was a high-powered bolt action. It had some hand-etched inscriptions on its bullets. Here were some of the inscriptions. Hey, fascist, catch. Notices, bulges, what's this? Symbols that they assumed that law enforcement in Utah said was associated with Antifa. It isn't. I'll give you an example. Arrows pointing left. I'll tell you what that means. Lyrics from World War II Italian resistance anthem, Bella Ciao, and a crude message: if you read this, you are gay. Now, why is it important for people to know, unfortunately, right-wing culture and extremism and even gaming culture? Because if you were to follow Groypers, if you were to follow the right-wing kind of Nazi-adjacent white nationalists, you would know that this is some of the language and the culture, if you will, of the Groypers and the folks who follow Nick Fuentes and the people who play the game Helldivers. All right. Now, if you're still with me, folks, you all still with me? Let me explain this. Helldivers 2 is a game. It's a game, a very specific game, which is an anti-fascist game, right? Where you're like playing an anti-fascist game, but Nazis online have co-opted that game. I want to thank Matt Binder, who we've had on before. He says, way too many outlets are reporting, hey, fascist catch, and up arrow, right arrow, 3 down arrow as being part of Antifa. That was all the same inscription because it's very specific to a video game. Helldivers 2. And what we know about Tyler Robinson is that he was terminally online. Nazis have co-opted the game Helldivers 2, folks, and they're creating their own Nazi-themed victory celebrations in this game. Now, are you still with me? The whole gay, right? How they mock and use the word gay so liberally. Guess who else does that? The Groyper army. Guess who else hated Charlie Kirk? Groypers. Guess who else called Charlie Kirk a fascist? Wait for it. Groypers. Now,
here.
Please
I just
continue.
want you to be able to, because people are asking in the chat, like, just for the further description of what the Groypers are. So I'm putting it up here.
Okay, so the Groypers, folks, and this is from the ADL, and I want to read it because remember the ADL also had a background explainer on Charlie Kirk. and also used to call out Elon Musk, and also used to call out Trump and his anti-Semitism. But now the ADL, if you've noticed, Danielle, is perfectly fine with Donald Trump going after pro-Palestinian activists. Oh, but I keep the receipts. So I'm going to read what the ADL wrote about the Groypers 5 years ago. Groypers are a loose network of alt-right figures who are vocal supporters of white supremacy and America First podcaster Nick Fuentes. Patrick Casey, who heads the white supremacist American Identity Movement, is also a lead Groyper. Groypers regularly confront mainstream conservative organizations like Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA for failing to promote a truly America First agenda and for not being adequately pro-white. Many Groypers hold racist and anti-Semitic views. Fuentes is careful to position the Groypers not as a white supremacist movement, but rather as Christian conservatives who oppose, among other things, immigration, globalism, gay and transgender rights, and feminism. Nick Fuentes dined with this was written in 2020. Nick Fuentes dined with Donald Trump and Kanye West in 2022. I've been on that for years, asking the right wing, has Donald Trump ever condemned him? In the last 3 years, Donald Trump has never condemned Nick Fuentes. Who appeared at Nick Fuentes' conference? Marjorie Taylor Greene and Paul Gosar. Who had a massive profile done on them in the New York Times 3 days ago? Nick Fuentes, a white nationalism problem for the right. Who has hated Charlie Kirk, called him a fascist and a sellout for years? Nick Fuentes and the Groyper army. And yesterday, when Nick Fuentes went online, and I went there to see how many people would show up, guess how many people tuned into his live stream last night, Danielle?
How many?
200,000.
Wow. 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 So, I mean, here we have it, right? The Groyper army is a group of alt-white, white nationalists, and Christian nationalists, activists led by Nick Fuentes. And, you know, what I think is really interesting, because I want to go back to this post by Adam Cochran, who said, "Let me help you out. Bella Ciao is an anti-fascist song. People like Fuentes have called Kirk a liberal in disguise and a fascist. The comment on a bulge is a derogatory statement against trans people. The quote, 'If you're reading this, you're gay, LMAOOO,' is not pro-gay. The arrows and the iron sights on the bullets are different from the messages on the casings. And it's now clear how the reports got mixed up and why we shouldn't have had partial reports. This guy was clearly a Groyper who thought Kirk wasn't conservative enough." Now, folks, we offered this information right now, right? As nothing has been confirmed, but more information is coming out. But we offered this because the likelihood that Donald Trump and company would have their way, that this would be some left winger, when we know the stats and the data on who does these shootings, right? And that over the last few years, that it has turned out that several of the mass shooters have all had their their manifestos,
Yep.
where they elevate Donald Trump and Hitler and other figures inside of the right wing, both in America and outside, right? So what they are doing, what they have been doing, and I talked about this yesterday on the Danielle Moody Show, is they're creating their raison d'etre. They're creating their Reichstag fire. They're using Charlie Kirk, right, in saying that this was done by the radical left, Nancy Mace, the left has blood on their hands,
Yep.
Going on and on and on, and saying that we need to declare war on the left, because they're already declaring war, folks. There are troops and boots on the ground in LA, in Washington, D.C., in Chicago, and they are going to invade more states.
Memphis, he said it today in the morning.
What is the reason for that? Oh, so that you have the National Guard in place for when Donald Trump, not if, but when he declares martial law. That is the fucking plan. That is the goal here. And so they are using this moment in trying to turn, right, whoever the alleged shooter into this radical leftist to make the claim that this is why we need to stamp out crime in these areas and we need to stamp out the left. And how this is playing out, right? What we are going to learn. And I said this yesterday. I do not take anything that comes out of this FBI, right? Like as truth. I am not going to take anything that comes out because I know that they are working tirelessly to concoct a narrative that will give Donald Trump the green light, much like the Reichstag fire gave Adolf Hitler the green light to suspend civil liberties and to increase his power, right, inside of Germany. And so, folks, we are here. And this is why it's important that you get a level of consciousness and understand like who these groups are and how they've all been working around MAGA, right? And I want to also bring up, and we will, Laura Loomer and the post that she pulled down.
Yep.
With regard to Charlie Kirk, who she was going after but several weeks ago on social media. And again, this is somebody who has the ear and probably more of Donald Trump, right?
That was exquisite. Laura Loomer, folks, and I've been on her yesterday because she's gone after some of our friends, Mehdi Hassan, Ilhan Omar, and all these other people with selective outrage and selective edited clips. Laura Loomer recently actually had a post against Charlie Kirk. And what I also look, folks, this is the world's worst. I told you so. I get no joy from this. I've just unfortunately spent too much of my life following these people for 14 years, these hate mongers, these Islamophobes, warning about how, love has gone intersectional, but so has hate, talking about how they're taking over the right-wing party, how they're taking over right-wing movements all across Europe, how they represent a growing threat, how they're going to go mainstream. And people laughed at me. People said, you're crazy. I remember, Danielle, I tweeted that we're going to have white nationalists and white supremacist memes go mainstream by 2025. People said, you're nuts. You're suffering from TDS. Voila. Laura Loomer, the fact that we actually even have to talk about her, the fact that, like you said, she has the ear of the president is proof positive of what I just said, Danielle. Can you imagine that 5 years ago, me saying that, you saying that? Mm-mm. Laura Loomer recently said that Charlie Kirk had stabbed Donald Trump in the back. Go, let's read it. Read it, Danielle. Yeah. She deleted this, by the way, folks. She deleted it.
She deleted this. And this, oh, shit. I didn't, because the posts that I pulled up yesterday, those were hers from July. This was from September 10th at 2:25. No. This is the repost.
Yeah.
Got it. This is the repost. So this is a post that she did in July that was reposted because she pulled it down. I don't ever want to hear at Charlie Kirk claim he is pro-Trump ever again. After this weekend, I'd say he has revealed himself as a political opportunist, and I've had a front row seat to witness the mental gymnastics these last 10 years. Lately, Charlie has decided to behave like a charlatan, claiming to be pro-Trump one day while he stabs Trump in the back the next. TPUSA was only able to thrive thanks to the generosity of President Trump. This is what she posted, and it was a longer thread that she went through in July. Now, what was happening in July? Oh, well, Charlie Kirk was hosting his Turning Points USA conference where he invited Megyn Kelly to sit down, where the both of them were demanding transparency around the Epstein files and a release of the Epstein files. Charlie Kirk was one of the main voices inside of MAGA who was on the Epstein fucking train saying, if Donald Trump, like the people around Donald Trump, because they always like to make it about the people around Donald Trump as opposed to Donald Trump himself. And they were claiming him and I played this clip as well, him and Megyn Kelly were claiming that the people around Donald Trump were doing him a disservice by not allowing the release of the Epstein files that would put to rest any of the conspiracy theories that were floating around that he had anything to do with Epstein. Just bring it out. Just bring it out. That's what they were saying. And so what is really interesting is that Charlie Kirk is on this in early July. Donald Trump calls him. He backs off of it for like a week or so. And then he goes back full throttle on Epstein and says, we need transparency. The files need to be released. This is why Laura Loomer, among many others, started coming for Charlie Kirk.
Folks, listen. We're getting more information now. Danielle, I just posted a tweet. If you can somehow get that and download it, I think it's very important.
The MAGA Groper one?
We're learning more and more about this guy. Again, we're just telling you what we know.
Got it.
Folks, it seems pretty clear that Tyler Robinson, who was terminally online, who is the suspect in Charlie Kirk's murder, a man who turned himself in, young man, 22 years old, who turned himself in. His father detained him, from Utah, very smart student, family is Republican, conservative, gun lovers, white, not immigrant, not person of color, not transgender. This guy is using a lot of Groyper language. He is steeped in Groyper culture. And right now, the Groper, Peter Hamby just said the Groyper antennas are vibrating on 4chan, where if you go on 4chan where these guys congregate, one guy said, Groyper confirmed. Nick Fuentes, the leader, is so effed, it's unreal. Is he our guy? I think he might be. Look at this. That's his mom. So his mom posts, and I don't know if you could see it, but I'll try to actually, I'll read it. What's the Facebook post? His mom, Amber Jones Robinson, writes, "Happy Halloween, handing out candy alone since these weirdos ditched me. Tyler is some guy from a meme. Austin is the crazy end of the world homeless guy, and Logan is a fancy skeleton. My kids are weird. Happy Halloween, boy mom, October 31st, 2018. That's Tyler Robinson, folks.
And this is Pepe the Frog?
Oh, yeah. This is their icon. The Groyper icon is the frog. Pepe the Frog. I'm sorry, guys. I know you're gonna be learning a lot about this shit. This is what is radicalizing this type of language, these icons, the iconography, the culture, the lingo, the shit that was existing within 4chan and Nazi subreddits that has gone mainstream in the past 10 years, thanks to Donald Trump, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Dan Bongino. What was once fringe, Danielle, such as QAnon, they embraced it because they realized their base was there. They can win them over with, anti-women, anti-transgender, Gamergate, and other stuff, right? Oh, they can go through video games, sports, wellness, comedy. They can use the word gay again. They can use the word retard as a pejorative, right? Oh, they can be anti-woman, right? So they, if you will, infiltrated this already kind of right-wing subculture online, which also permeates with racism and homophobia and misogyny. And then they brought it into the mainstream of the Republican Party. I'll give you an example. QAnon. QAnon was fringe, folks. And then they realized, oh, wait, we got something here with QAnon. Oh, wait, QAnon can help us. Oh, wait, some of the people who like Donald Trump are QAnon. So then Donald Trump promotes QAnon, even though they know that the FBI had said that this insane right-wing hateful conspiracy theory can and has radicalized people to commit violence. They didn't care because what QAnon told them, folks, was Donald Trump is the only one, the savior, the hero, the anti-establishment culture warrior, that once he comes into power and becomes the president of the United States, guess what? Guess what? He's going to reveal the deep state, which is a part of an international cabal of all these leftists, which is anyone who's not Trump and MAGA, includes law enforcement, judges, the press, doctors, Jews, black people, LGBTQ, immigrants, Muslims, and they are devil-worshipping pedophiles who traffic children and drink the blood of kids. You don't believe me? I give you Pizzagate from 10 years ago, right? This goes back 10 years. They went all in on it, and they said the Holy Grail that will reveal the deep state is the Epstein files.
Let me
And
tell you
that's
something.
why,
Ooh.
Danielle, look, one of us who tried to shoot and kill Donald Trump, one of us, a white Republican, who is now demanding the release of the Epstein files, who is radicalized, who's the Frankenstein's monster that is after Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. One of them, one of us, the Republicans, right? Who turned on Charlie Kirk? Laura Loomer. Who turned on Charlie Kirk? Some of the people in MAGA who said he wasn't doing enough on the Epstein files. And then some people who are saying, oh, wait, he's saying release the Epstein files. We can't have that. And who has always hated him, and who, in fact, became mainstream in the right wing due to their hatred of him. Wait for it. Nick Fuentes and the Groypers. And guess who else Nick Fuentes and Groypers have gone after, Danielle, for years? Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
Harassing him and his wife and his child on the street.
Let me tell you,
sorry, all that. I know it's a lot.
No, it's a lot, but it's necessary to understand, because these people, these groups are living among us, and at one time were marginalized. At one time were pushed to the margins of society. And now, because of Donald Trump and his desire to own the libs and to build this radicalized army, has embraced conspiracy, has embraced white nationalism, has embraced violence. And then they think that you do these things and it doesn't come home to roost. Like, that's what's shocking. Like, violence is great so long as it's being done to Black and brown and trans and gay and people with disabilities, so long as it doesn't come to their front door. But the fact is that I believe what is going to come out, and again, folks, we're covering all of this live as the information is coming out. We're bringing it to you. But I believe as more and more of this comes out, you are going to watch mainstream corporate media watch fail miserably on this, not get to the core of anything, because everything comes back to who? Donald Trump. Everything comes back to who has been radicalizing America for the last 10 years. Who has Donald Trump been cozying up to? All of these people that are now turning on each other, and some turning on him. You're on mute.
Donald Trump. Mehdi said something last. He said, "I've never seen a more shameless political group than the right wing." Folks, you know what they're saying now? I brought the receipts. This is what they're saying. You cannot shame shameless people, Danielle. And I think F them. F shaming them. F even trying to win the majority over. I don't even waste my time anymore, right? Because I said Donald Trump dined with Nick Fuentes and Kanye 3 years ago. Once after the dinner, everyone said, like, how the hell did you dine with Nick Fuentes, a guy who said that Hitler is based and is a white nationalist? I didn't know anything about him. Well, now you know something about him. Will you condemn him? He's never condemned him. The Guardian, it was Hugh Lowell. I have a random memory. I try to like have certain receipts in my brain. Hugh Lowell, who was a writer for Guardian at that time, he wrote a piece in which the insider said the reason why Donald Trump did not condemn Nick Fuentes, even after he was informed that he is this hate monger, was because he realized it might hurt his base. Mm-hmm. It's been 3 years. So I'm all right. Now that you know who Nick Fuentes is, now that there's connections, we're still finding out information, but Tyler Robinson clearly is influenced by these Groypers. He's using their language, all their type of cultural idioms that you use. Maybe it's time now to condemn Nick Fuentes. He has yet to condemn Nick Fuentes. Maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene. We want to revisit why you supported him and went to his conference. Paul Gosar. Anyone? Bueller. Can you imagine if, God forbid, the shoe was on the other foot and a Democrat took a photo with a person who ended up being like a liberal shooter? What would Fox do? Play that nonstop. Danielle, they dined. He dined with Nick Fuentes. Marjorie Taylor Greene went to his conference. All right. What positive is there in the Groyper army? What positive is there in the Nick Fuentes, who's once a white Christian nation, is a Christian nationalist, said that Hitler was based, promotes white nationalist conspiracies? Already, full stop, pause. The fact that we already accept that, Daniel. But now, if the evidence, clearly we're just linking the evidence now, if anything changes, we'll let you know. Seems that Tyler Robinson was clearly part of this group and or influenced by them. The fact that Donald Trump dined with their leader, Nick Fuentes, and post-anti-Semitic Kanye. That was post-anti-Semitic Kanye, all right? He has never apologized for it. Will anyone in the corporate media ask, Danielle?
No, but I want to play this clip because this is from this morning. Donald Trump found himself on Fox talking, and I want you all, and I try to very rarely play him because I know that it is not only triggering for me, but for all of you to hear his voice. But I think it's important to hear what this man, and let me see if I can find it. I might not have pulled it because I might have said to myself, I actually don't want to hear Donald Trump. But this is what he said. Earhart on the show says, we have radicals on the right as well. How do we fix this country? Because I don't know, I guess they had like a burst of consciousness. And Donald Trump's reply was, I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. And then he goes off on a diatribe about the radicals on the left. That's what the president of the United States was doing today, this morning, as we had no real information except for the fact that Tyler Robinson had turned himself in, except for his own political views, et cetera, all of these things leaking out. But Donald Trump knew nothing when he got on Fox to say that he doesn't care very clearly about anything that happens on the right. Of course he doesn't, because he pardoned 1,600 of his radicals and deputized white nationalists when he told them to stand back and stand by. That's where we are. Any other...
Folks, we have 2,000 people watching on my Substack. Welcome. We have 3,500 people watching on YouTube and Twitter, along with some... what do you call them? I haven't slept a long time. Trolls. Welcome, trolls, as well.
Yes, Waj, you haven't slept since the weekend.
For those who are joining us, we are learning about Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson turned himself in. He's 22 years old. What we know about Tyler Robinson, who is Charlie Kirk's alleged shooter, he's a white, straight, male, Christian from a Republican family, conservative background, Second Amendment supporter, experienced firearms user, apparently a good son, really good student, law-abiding, was very much online. They're Blue Lives Matter folks, MAGA. He was taught to shoot at a young age. His father, an ex-sheriff, convinced Tyler to turn himself in. He gets a $100,000 reward, so that's going to be interesting. He detained or kept Tyler until law enforcement came. And he is a Groyper. It seems like very clearly he is a Groyper. That's Tyler Robinson right there. A couple of years ago. That's his mom. His mom, poor mom, had no idea what he was doing. He said, "My son is some weird meme." He used a lot of the language associated with the Groypers, the stuff that was found on the bullet casing and shells, and the fact that this dumbass FBI, headed by this dumbass extremist Kash Patel, and these other Republicans didn't realize it, is because they don't know their base. Their base, the governor of Utah said, "Oh my God, I can't believe it was one of us." It is. It is. Number one source of mass shooters, number one, the identity of mass shooters, white men. The person who tried to shoot and kill Donald Trump. Remember, they said it was the left, and then we found out who was it, Danielle?
Oh, a white man.
Yep, that's Pepe the Frog. Yep, Pepe is now the Groyper, like incel white nationalist icon. They think it's hilarious. It's all like trash talking. On the bullet casings, It's all the type of language that you'll find with Groypers. The people who also called Charlie Kirk a fascist were Groypers. Nick Fuentes, the leader of the Groypers, in part made a huge dent and inroad within the right-wing movement because he used to, if you will, go after Charlie Kirk and say that Charlie Kirk wasn't right-wing enough.
I mean, you know, we are living in such dangerous and absurd times where you could have the audacity to listen to the things that Charlie Kirk has said. I ran the receipts yesterday, folks, and that episode is up now from the Danielle Moody show, where I played back to back like 4 or 5 clips of Charlie Kirk saying that Black women don't have the mental capacity and that's why affirmative action was created, saying that Black people were better off in slavery and, you know, and happier. Though he, in the middle, as he was being shot, he was going on a diatribe about transgender people and how trans people, guns need to be taken away from trans people. He has said that he doesn't believe in empathy,
Nope.
that empathy was some new age, you know, made up thing that was destroying the country. This is who they celebrated. This is who the Yankees took a moment of silence for. This is who an NFL team took a moment of silence
Packers
for.
and Commanders last night.
This is who these people are. And I continue to say, like, you know, they're showing you the veil has been lifted. We don't need to continue to debate whether or not Donald Trump is a white nationalist. We don't need to continue to debate whether or not MAGA is filled with racist. Like, it is, they are telling you. And in the midst of all that was unfolding, following this man's murder, historically Black colleges and universities yesterday were on lockdown.
Yep.
Why? Because of credible threats of bombs and shootings. Black colleges and universities were on lockdown because Donald Trump got on television and talking about the radical left. And what do white nationalists do? Direct everything towards Black people and people of color. This ain't have nothing to do with us. This is white on white fucking crime.
That's right. We've been warning folks, listen, if you've been watching Democratization, we've been warning MAGA, we've been warning the right wing. If you radicalize people and you want to weaponize them against your enemies, you better be careful, because if you radicalize and weaponize that base, and this country has more guns than people, what happens if 1 or 2 of those people turn on you? This is a case of Frankenstein's monster, which we have been warning about. If you've been following extremism, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, racism, white nationalism, this was inevitable. We've seen the fissures. It's right there, as Daniel said. The evidence was all there. The fissures within this MAGA movement, between Nick Fuentes and Ben Shapiro, between Nick Fuentes and Charlie Kirk, between Laura Loomer and Charlie Kirk, the fissures with the Epstein files, Danielle, right? Mm-hmm. And what did the right wing do? What did Donald Trump, their daddy and their king, do? He didn't care. He unleashed them. Do you see the movie Weapons? It's a good movie that came out. Weapons. This movie Weapons is just a huge hit, where this lady uses a type of like magic or spell to make people into weapons, and they become zombies, and then she unleashes the human being and these kids as straight up like missiles, Daniel, to go against her enemies. And then, you know, spoiler alert, those weapons get used against her. This is where we are right now. This is where we are. We're in a situation where the weaponization of hate, the weaponization of conspiracy theories was deliberately done by the right wing to help Donald Trump. Donald Trump, as Daniel just showed from his clip, does not care. He doesn't care about his base. He doesn't care about white farmers who are struggling and killing themselves. He doesn't care about workers. He doesn't care about Republicans. This is the man who unleashed his weapon, his base, against Mike Pence. He unleashed his weapon against the Republicans and Democrats who were hiding for their lives on January 6th. He unleashed his weapon against Fauci, against teachers, against black colleges, against law enforcement, all acts of stochastic terrorism for the past years. He unleashed his weapon on the same corporate press that is now bending the knee and filleting him. He has unleashed his weapon against anyone and everyone who threatens him. He is now a desperate old cankled rat in the corner, and he will chew through anything and everyone to keep himself alive, even if it's a wire that then is exposed and catches fire and burns down the home. He will scatter out. He is never going to spend a day of his life in jail. And he and all of his reeks have weaponized their base to be a heat-seeking missile against the left. If you don't believe me, open your damn eyes. Where were you for the past 2 days? Where they openly wanted to and have tried to and are still trying to incite their base to commit violence against the rest of us, Danielle. But guess what, Danielle? Sometimes that weapon, that weapon comes home.
It's like it's a boomerang, right? The hate that they put out, the thing that Matthew Dowd was fired for on MSNBC. He said basically to the extent that the hate that you put out, the energy that you put out, the celebration of violence, it will find you, right? Like that is not a fireable offense. It is the truth, you know. And
he was right. And he was right.
And he was right. And as we come to a close today, dear friends, I will say this too. Pay attention to the news that you are taking in. Pay attention to the folks that are saying that we must show empathy, that we must be the bigger people in the room. Pay attention to who's not saying much, which is the Democratic establishment.
Oh.
Pay attention to all the ways in which MAGA is trying to spin this in order to give Donald Trump the green light for martial law and violence against everyone who is not white, who is not cis, who is not straight, who is not male. Just pay attention, because this, they were calling this, they said, and I before we get out of here, I have to pull it up because I think I was shocked, and it wasn't this. But yes, here it is. The Spencer Cox, the governor, right? He said something else that I just found bizarre. He called Charlie Kirk's murder, quote, a watershed moment in American history. Quote, is this the end of a dark chapter in our history or the beginning of a darker chapter in our history? And he compared this moment to the 1960s and the political assassinations of the era. Like the misunderstanding, the purposeful misunderstanding of American history and who was actually assassinated in the 1960s were Black leaders that were trying to bring democracy to the entirety of this country and lift the second-class citizenship and Jim Crow laws that persisted to oppress Black people. And this motherfucker had the audacity to try and compare the killing of Charlie Kirk, a man who spewed nothing but hate, to those that tried to bring this country together and those that tried to make America like live up to the ideals of democracy. This is their literal, real life, real time gaslighting.
You know, Danielle, I know you have to leave, so I'll bring it back full circle with something I wrote last night. You're getting a clear X-ray of America right now. This is America. Look at who they choose to venerate and idealize and sanitize in death. There's a reason why we have monuments and statues and bridges and army bases named after racist, treasonous losers of a war who seceded to try to enslave Black people. Look at who this country and its powerful institutions venerate, sanitize, whitewash. Harriet Tubman ain't on that bill.
Nope.
There is no base named after Harriet Tubman, folks. And
Nope.
look in death who they mourn for. They stop games. They do moments of silence. J.D. Vance skips out on the 9/11 memorial. For who? Charlie Kirk, a man who said you should stone gay people, a man who was a white nationalist, a man who thought a woman should be underneath the control of men, a man who was against empathy, a man who mocked gun control, a man who said so some gun deaths were worth it for the Second Amendment, a man who was against separation of church and state, a man whose army, if you will, doxed and threatened people, whose speech they didn't like, a man who said that Islam was going to try to slit the throat of the Western civilization, a man who was against the Civil Rights Act and said it was a great mistake, a man who said that black people were better off during slavery. This is their hero. This is their king. This is America.
Yeah. And before we get out of here, folks, because we have so many new people that have joined us, again, Waj and I never put any of our content behind a paywall. We are independent. So do us a favor and hit the bell if you're watching this on YouTube, and subscribe for free so that you never miss a show. If you're watching on our Substacks, Waj is the left hook, mine is the damn digest. Do consider becoming a subscriber again. None of our content will go behind a paywall, but if you do have a few bucks, consider becoming a paid subscriber. And I just want to shout
Thank you,
out,
Spring.
Spring. Thank you so much. That was extraordinarily generous. Barb, Tina, Susan, as always. IVF, Claire, Design, Sandra again, IVF again, Nicole, Linda, Susan again, Linda again, Ms., Jimmy, 16, HL. We thank you all so very much. Your donations go a long way in allowing us to do the kind of work that we do and give you the kind of content and truth and integrity in storytelling that you all deserve. And so Lights appreciate you. And Josh appreciates you. We will be back, folks, on Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern, and we will be on time, barring any breaking news that we.
Sorry, folks, we tried our best. This was we tried to give it to you and try to be as accurate as possible and gave you the up-to-date news. But for those who joined us a bit late, we're going to have this up, like Danielle said. It'll be up on her YouTube channel right now. Please subscribe to Danielle's YouTube channel. It'll be on our Substack, The Left Hook and Damn Digest. It's all free. If you have a little bit of money, give it to Danielle. If you have a little bit left over, give it to me. I have 800 kids. Danielle, how many shows do you have? You have like 1,400 shows today, or are you going to rest?
No, I'm going to rest, and I would love for you to rest.
I'm talking to David Korn in 10 minutes.
For 5 days. For 5 days. Democracy-ish has been live every day for this week. But please, Waj, please do take some time to rest this weekend. I'm gonna text your wife and tell her to take your phone and your laptop and lock it up so that you can play with your kids and enjoy life a little bit. But we appreciate you, dear friends. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will see you back here on Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern.